It was the New Year's Eve party, and someone had swapped my pineapple juice for a beer. That same day, I had taken a strong antibiotic. I barely pulled through after being rushed to the ER, but when I woke up, my wife was shielding the man who did it. "Let's just drop this. Be the bigger person. Sincere." He didn't mean it. I had no intention of letting the man who had been shamelessly orbiting my wife get away with it. But she cut me off, her brow furrowed in frustration. "Enough, he just graduated college. He's just a kid who doesn't know any better. Why are you picking on him? Will you only be happy once you've ruined the rest of his life?" Seeing her protect him so fiercely, my heart turned to ash. "Then why don't you two just build a life together?" "What do you mean, build a life together? Sincere Vance, can you stop being so damn petty? What's wrong with a boss looking out for her subordinate? And you have the nerve to slander us like this. Ruining a perfectly good New Year's Eve party." My words struck a nerve. Flustered and cornered, Victoria Sterling's voice rose to a shrill shout. I let out a cold laugh and shot back. "Oh? Some looking out, that is. It even surpasses the love you have for your own husband. When I collapsed at the party, you were the one who took a step back, weren't you?" Victoria froze, then visibly forced herself to calm down, her chest heaving as she suppressed her anger. "Sincere, I know you're upset. I will punish Leo for this, I promise. I'll give you a satisfactory result, but calling the police is completely unnecessary. He just graduated, and how do you plan to punish him?" Having stared death in the face, everything suddenly seemed painfully clear. A dull throb started in my temples, and I cut through her rambling. Victoria was taken aback. I'll dock 3 days' pay," she stammered. "You'll dock 3 days' pay for something that almost killed me?" I couldn't believe it. The absurdity of it almost made me laugh. Enough, he didn't do it on purpose. He's a kid fresh out of college. What money does he have? He has rent. He has to live. This is already a severe punishment. How is he supposed to survive next month? Victoria's face turned ugly, her expression begging me to back down. But I had lost all interest in talking to her. I pulled out my phone to call 911. "Just graduated? I'm sorry, but as an adult, he's responsible for his own actions." As I was about to dial the last digit, Victoria lunged forward, snatched the phone from my hand and ended the call. "Do you have to ruin his future?" she screamed. "He's so young, what does he know? I just want to tell the police the facts. He knows exactly what he did." My brow tightened as I tried to get my phone back. The atmosphere in the hospital room grew tense, a standoff between us with neither willing to yield. Knock, knock, knock. The door opened and in walked Leo, holding a fruit basket. 2 perfectly placed tears trickled down his face. He entered with a look of timid fear, and the moment his eyes met mine, he bowed deeply. "I'm so sorry, Sincere. This is all my fault. I am truly deeply sorry. Leo, come, sit down." Seeing him, Victoria rushed to his side, taking the basket and patting his shoulder. "Look at you, you shouldn't have." "Sincere is fine. Why are you crying? Don't be scared." "I'm sorry, Victoria. I've caused you so much trouble." That only made it worse. Leo's eyes reddened further as if he were genuinely terrified. His choked sob made Victoria's heart ache for him. As his eyes filled with tears, he glanced up at me. For a split second, they were full of triumph. I frowned, about to tell him to drop the act, but in the next moment he dropped to his knees in front of my hospital bed. He lowered his head, his voice cracking as he cried, "I'm sorry, Sincere, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were on medication. I only swapped the drinks to liven up the atmosphere. I swear I meant nothing else by it." "Leo, what are you doing?" "Get up." Victoria was stunned. She tried to pull him to his feet, then turned to me, her voice laced with fury when she saw my blank expression. "He's already doing this and you still don't believe him? Sincere, when did your heart become so cold? Forgive him. Now stop making things difficult for this kid, Leo. Please get up. I can't stand to see you like this. I won. I get up not until Sincere forgives me. Tears streamed down Leo's face as he stubbornly knelt, demanding my forgiveness. A headache was blooming behind my eyes. I was tired of his performance. Seeing that I remained unmoved, Victoria strode over and slapped me hard across the face. "Sincere Vance, you son of a bitch, crack, it happened so fast." A fiery sting spread across my right cheek. That slap obliterated the last shred of affection I had for her. Victoria and I met in college. We were in the same top-tier finance program, a place where most students came from families with connections and money. But Victoria was different. She had gotten in on pure merit and planned to bootstrap her own company from nothing. Her tenacity captivated me almost instantly. It was no surprise we ended up together. I was the one who pursued her, and I learned so much from her. My family never approved of Victoria. When we graduated, they had already arranged a strategic marriage for me, assuming she was just a temporary dalliance before I came back home to the family business. But youth is rebellious. The fire I had back then is long gone. I cut ties with my family to be with Victoria. We'd been married for 3 years now, together for 5. In those 3 years, with my help, Victoria's career had flourished. There was a time she would have protected me just as fiercely as she was protecting Leo now. She once stood up to a condescending client who was trying to force me to drink, and she'd stay up late to cook for me. I truly believed we would spend the rest of our lives together. But as our finances improved, our emotional connection withered. Ever since Leo joined the company as an intern, Victoria's attitude toward me had taken a nosedive. I heard she had personally requested he be transferred to her team as her assistant. After that, she was always traveling for business or working late, and Leo was always with her. The official reason was developing his skills, but who knew what skills they were developing? It didn't take long for rumors to spread through the office that Victoria was sleeping with her assistant. My mind was drifting when another slap, just as sharp, snapped me back to reality. I slowly looked up at Victoria. She was gritting her teeth, enunciating each word with venom. "Sincere, accept Leo's apology. Right now, or I will make your life a living hell." "Victoria, stop, please. Don't fight because of me." Leo, ever the actor, waited until after she had hit me to intervene. He then stood up decisively, a look of grim resolve on his face. "Sincere, since you still won't forgive me, I'll turn myself in. I'm willing to spend the rest of my life atoning for what I did before either of us could react." He bolted out of the hospital room. "Leo, where are you going?" "Don't do anything stupid." Victoria scrambled after him, but not before throwing one last threat over her shoulder. "Sincere, if anything happens to him, I'll never forgive you." The door slammed shut, and the room was finally quiet. I let out a long breath, feeling an immense wave of exhaustion wash over me. Of course Leo wasn't going to turn himself in. His entire performance was designed to drive a wedge between Victoria and me. It was such an obvious ploy, but only Victoria would be naive enough to fall for it. Sure enough, a few minutes later, she posted on her Instagram story. It was a picture of the scenery just outside the hospital with the caption, "I'll always protect you." She didn't hide it from anyone. A blatant, public declaration. She never came back to see me after chasing after him. I suppose since I was out of mortal danger, there was no longer a need. I let out a cold, humorless chuckle, unfazed by her passive-aggressive provocation. My stomach had been pumped last night, and I had no appetite, but I couldn't stand being in the hospital a moment longer. I arranged with the doctor to be discharged the next day. When I got home with my things, I found Victoria there. "You're back?" She was sitting on the sofa. The faint smile on her face vanished the moment she saw me. Her tone was cool and detached, and she didn't bother asking about my health. She clearly hadn't expected me back so soon. She had been in a good mood, but my arrival instantly soured it. For a marriage to reach this point of transparent pretense was truly pathetic. "I'm back," I replied, my own voice flat. It was then I noticed a subconscious tension in her posture. I frowned, and a moment later I heard the sound of a shower running in the bathroom. There was someone else in our home. Who's in the shower? Even though a suspicion had already formed in my mind, a sliver of hope remained as I asked the question. But at my words, Victoria's expression soured as she offered a forced explanation. It's Leo. The water's been out in his building for a week, so I brought him here to shower after work. Don't overthink it, his water is really out. Okay. I'm not overthinking it. My calm response seemed to throw her off. She studied my face, searching for any sign of anger. When she found none, she let out a sigh of relief. It's a rare day when you decide to be reasonable and not so dramatic. Dramatic? So that's how she saw my reactions? I didn't answer. I walked straight into our bedroom, pulled a suitcase from the closet, and began packing in silence. Throughout this time, Victoria never once came in to check on me. As I packed, I realized how few possessions I had accumulated in our years of marriage. I've never been a materialistic person. I left behind everything Victoria had ever given me, and everything we had acquired together. I didn't want them, and I certainly didn't want the memories. When I came out with my suitcase, Victoria was blow-drying Leo's hair. She was kneeling on the sofa, laughing and talking with him. They looked like a picture-perfect couple, making me feel utterly redundant in my own home. Her back was to me, and the dryer was too loud for her to hear my footsteps. But Leo saw me the instant I stepped out of the room. He slowly lifted his eyes, a smug, triumphant smirk playing on his lips. His expression screamed, "See, in the end you can't win against me." I remained expressionless. I had no desire to win, nor did I feel like I had lost. I just quietly watched as Victoria, with infinite patience and a gentle expression, finished drying his hair. I couldn't remember the last time she had looked at me with such tenderness. I realized it wasn't that work stress made her irritable at home. It was just that her tenderness was reserved for someone else. The dryer switched off. Victoria turned, and her face tensed when she saw me. "I was just drying his hair," she explained hastily. "I was afraid he'd get a headache and miss work tomorrow if it wasn't dry." "I know. You don't have to explain everything to me." My flat, indifferent tone was all the opening Leo needed. He put on a timid expression. "Sincere, I feel like I'm not welcome here. I should probably go." As he made a show of leaving, Victoria quickly stopped him. "You just showered. You'll catch a cold if you go out now. I never said you weren't welcome." "I'm the one who's extra here," I said, retrieving my suitcase from the bedroom. "You can stay. I'm leaving." I headed for the door. Seeing my suitcase, Victoria's face darkened, and she moved to block my path. "Sincere, what is this? I was wondering why you were so calm when you got home. Is this another one of your schemes?" A bitter smile touched my lips. I couldn't be bothered to guess what kind of monster she thought I was. Thanks to a certain someone's manipulations, I looked at her calmly, my voice devoid of any emotion. "It's not a scheme, Victoria. Check your email. I'll be sending you the divorce agreement. You want to divorce me?" To my surprise, she didn't fly into a rage at those words. Instead, she frowned, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "Sincere, you have no grounds for divorce. All I did was look out for Leo, and I only see him as a little brother. If you're doing this, I can only assume you never loved me and have no feelings left for me. Think whatever you want. I'm divorcing you, and that's final." I didn't even spare her a glance. Arguing now was pointless. My resolute attitude finally seemed to get through to her. She had assumed I was just being dramatic again, but now she realized I was serious. She instinctively reached out and grabbed my arm. "Sincere, stop this. Let's just talk." I shook her arm off, a wave of revulsion washing over me. "Don't touch me with that." I turned and walked away. Victoria stumbled back, and her own anger flared. "Sincere, where will you go without me?" she yelled at my back. "Back to your family? Don't you forget you cut ties with them years ago. You get back here." Did I say I agree to this divorce? I acted as if I heard nothing. I got in my car and drove straight to the office. After clearing out my desk, I went to HR to submit my resignation. Sincere, are you sure about this? The HR manager saw my stony expression and probably guessed what was happening. She held my resignation form and asked tentatively. Yes, I understood her hesitation. Everyone in the company knew I was the husband of the CEO, Victoria Sterling. Though she always maintained a professional boundary, the private gossip was unavoidable. As expected, a troubled look crossed her face. I can't really make this decision. Shouldn't we wait for Miss Sterling to get back? No need. My position doesn't require her signature for approval. Just process it. Victoria founded this company 5 years ago, and I was one of its first employees. Back then, with only a dozen people, I was a technician, a sales rep, a delivery boy. I did everything. But in the last 2 years, as the company stabilized, Victoria had kept me in a low-level position, earning a basic salary that was less than what she paid Leo, her personal assistant. The HR manager sighed. She knew that, according to company policy, my position didn't require CEO approval. She signed the form, probably just hoping Victoria's impending wrath wouldn't be directed at her. I went back to my desk, picked up my cardboard box of belongings, and walked out, feeling the sympathetic gazes of my colleagues and hearing their hushed whispers. He's really leaving? I really liked Sincere. When I first started, he was the one who taught me everything about sales. It's all because of our CEO's new assistant. She's been a little too... I heard their words, but my expression didn't change. As I stepped out of the building, I saw Victoria arriving with Leo. Her eyes landed on the box in my hands, and her face contorted with rage. Sincere, how long are you going to keep this up? You want to leave me that badly? You're even quitting the company? Sincere, calm down, Leo interjected, his tone dripping with false concern. I heard you've been with this company for years. Don't be so impulsive. I ignored him completely, not even giving him a glance. Victoria took several deep breaths, struggling to control her fury. Fine, you're dead set on divorcing me, is that it? Then let's do it. I'll sign the papers right now. Sincere, Vance, you'd better not regret this at that. I stopped walking and finally showed a reaction. Since you're signing, let's go to City Hall this afternoon. That afternoon, Victoria and I finalized the divorce. Still fuming, she left immediately with Leo in tow. I had no desire for further conversation. I was just grateful it was over so quickly. Standing outside the municipal building, I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone, dialing a number I hadn't called more than a few times in 3 years. After 2 rings, a stern, authoritative voice answered, tinged with surprise. Hello? Sincere? I pursed my lips, my voice hoarse. Dad, Mom, I want to come home. My father was silent on the other end for a long moment before he let out a cold snort. Dad, you still remember you have a father? You still remember this family? Let me tell you, Sincere, this house isn't a hotel you can come and go from as you please. I raised you to be. You answered my call so quickly, and you still have my number saved. Dad, you wanted me to call, didn't you? After all these years, I finally understood that. My father, with his sharp tongue and soft heart, had never stopped loving me. Before my father could deny it, my mother took the phone. Her voice was choked with emotion. Sincere, oh honey. It's enough that you want to come home. When will you be here? Don't listen to your father. His eyes are red too. He's just all talk. He's missed you terribly. Hearing my mother's voice, a pang of guilt hit me. I had truly let them down. They had sent me to a top university, hoping I would return to work for the family, eventually. Take over the business and marry a woman I loved who would also be an asset to our empire. Instead, I had a massive falling out with them over Victoria and the arranged marriage. In the 5 years I was with Victoria, 3 of them married. I never asked them for a single penny. Thankfully, it had only been 3 years. It wasn't too late to make amends. I drove home that day, Parking my modest car in the garage, I looked at the collection of sports cars and luxury SUVs and realized my hard-earned vehicle couldn't even compare to one of their tires. The butler took my luggage. After 3 years, I was back in the Vance family mansion. When I entered, my parents were already waiting for me at the dining table. Although my father scowled when he saw me, the table was laden with all my favorite dishes. My mother rushed to me, her eyes red as she cupped my face. She had clearly been crying just moments before. "You've gotten thinner. You must have suffered out there." Before I could respond, my father spoke up gruffly. "That was his choice. Didn't Victoria come with you? I never acknowledged her as a Vance daughter-in-law, and she can't even be bothered to visit me? How wonderful." His words made me realize I hadn't told them about the divorce. I had only said I wanted to come home. They had prepared themselves to finally accept Victoria into the family. They hadn't even attended our wedding, but for my sake, they were now willing to let her in. I was silent for a moment. My parents, shrewd as they were, instantly knew something was wrong between Victoria and me. My father's expression softened for a fraction of a second. "If she didn't come, so be it. Since it's over between you two, I'll be canceling all our contracts with her company." "Dad, you—" I stared at him in astonishment. My mother just smiled and patted my shoulder. "Oh, you didn't really think your father was serious when he said he was disowning you, did you? He's been keeping a close eye on Ms. Sterling's company all these years. During the last market downturn, it was our family that secretly bailed her out. That's the only reason her little company didn't go under." Her explanation revealed the truth. They had been watching over me all along. The reason Victoria's company had been so successful, miraculously, avoiding every crisis, was because of my family's hidden support. "Dad, why didn't you tell me sooner?" I sighed deeply. My father, exposed by my mother, looked slightly uncomfortable and cleared his throat. "What was I supposed to do? I'm your father. I wasn't going to let you and her starve, you troublesome kid. I'm telling you, it's good that it's over. There's a gala in a few days. You will attend as the eldest son of the Vance family and show your face people who don. And know any better might think something happened to my son. I didn't dare refuse. I had to agree. After all, what I thought was my own hard work was in fact built on their support." "Yes, Sincere," my mother added. "You should go to the gala. There's a good friend of yours from childhood. What was her name again?" "Serena. She recently returned to the country and mentioned she wanted to see you. You two should reconnect." I instantly understood their agenda. Though I wasn't in the mood for romance, I had just returned home and didn't want to start an argument. I'd just treat it as catching up with an old friend. The gala was a massive affair. It was supposed to be a standard event, but because of my return, my father had booked the city's grandest hotel ballroom, determined to show all his business partners that the heir to the Vance fortune was back. And Serena was surprisingly lively and articulate, having grown even more beautiful. "Sincere Vance, don't tell me you've forgotten me. You said you were going to marry me when we were kids." We laughed about that for a while. It turned out that time and distance couldn't diminish a true friendship, and we ended up having a wonderful time talking. Later, as I was coming out of the restroom, I saw Victoria. Her eyes were red. "Sincere, I really misjudged you. You divorce me and find a new flame just like that." It's only been a few days. Her accusation caught me off guard. I hadn't expected her to be at this gala. Her company wasn't prominent enough to receive an invitation from my father. But I didn't dwell on it. I just replied coldly, "It's a lot better than you cheating on me." I had no desire to speak with her and turned to leave, but she grabbed my arm. "Wait, what? What is your relationship with Mr. Vance? You both have the same last name. Is he a relative of yours?" Looking at her panicked face, I found her naivety almost pitiful. I had never told her about my family's true status, not wanting to pressure or worry her. Victoria only knew I had a falling out with my well-off family for her sake. But she had never connected the powerful CEO, Mr. Vance, to me. My parents, who disliked her immensely, had never met her. Through a series of coincidences, she never realized he was my father. No relation. I wasn't about to use my family's name to intimidate her. It would only look like my family was bullying her. I tried to leave again, but her grip on my arm was surprisingly strong. Victoria bit her lip, her expression turning desperate. "You're lying. I just saw you with him. He was introducing you to other CEOs. He even straightened your collar." "What is your relationship?" "Sincere. Did you tell Mr. Vance to cancel the contracts with my company? How else could my biggest client pull out the day after we divorced? Do you have any idea how much effort it took me to get an invitation to this gala just to get a meeting with him?" I said nothing. The answer was so blindingly obvious, yet she couldn't bring herself to believe it, choosing instead to suspect me. Seeing my silence, she became even more self-righteous. "I hope you won't let your personal feelings ruin a win-win partnership. Win? What a joke." A woman's voice cut her off sharply. I felt the grip on my arm loosen. Turning, I saw it was Serena. She confidently linked her arm with mine and looked Victoria up and down with a deliberate, dismissive air. "You must be the MS Sterling I've heard about. Frankly, have you still not figured it out? For a group like the Vance Corporation, the pocket change they make from partnering with your company isn't a win-win. It's called charity for a small business, and that tiny drop in the ocean was only given to you because their eldest son happened to be gracing your company with his presence." Even though Victoria had already suspected it, hearing Serena state it so bluntly made her stumble back a step. She couldn't believe that I was the heir to the Vance Corporation, that all the major deals she had been so proud of were simply handouts from my family. Her face was a mask of humiliation. She tried to say something, but Serena cut her off again. "You weren't invited to this gala. You used someone else's invitation, didn't you?" I... Before Victoria could argue, security guards, summoned by Serena, arrived to escort her out. As they led her away, her face was a mixture of shock and disbelief. She kept trying to talk to me. "Sincere, listen to me, Sincere." I ignored her and turned to Serena, who flicked her hair back and gave me a sly smile. "Sorry about that, Sincere. I overheard everything. With people like her, you have to play hardball. You're too much of a gentleman. She'll just walk all over you." I chuckled, unable to argue with that, and nodded. The rest of the evening went smoothly. My father introduced me to countless partners, explaining that I had been studying abroad for the past few years. Everyone praised me as a brilliant young man. I shook hands and exchanged pleasantries, thinking that if we hadn't met in college, a person like Victoria would never have even had the chance to meet me. I thought she wouldn't cause any more trouble, but after the gala, on my way home, Victoria ambushed me. I don't know how she found the location of the Vance mansion or how she tricked the gate guards, but she probably used my name. As soon as I parked my car, I saw her approaching with a forced smile. "Sincere, why are you here?" My head started to ache. She didn't answer directly, instead adopting a submissive posture, her face plastered with a sycophantic grin. "I came today because I hope you'll come back. Sincere, I'm only just now realizing that the company, it can't function without you. It can't function without me? More like it can't function without my father's contracts." A bitter laugh escaped me. The absurdity was staggering. "What kind of joke is this, Victoria? I'm not coming back. The thought of you and Leo makes me sick. How could I possibly go back? I'll fire Leo. I'll cut off all contact with him forever. Sincere, please come back in." Her panic, Victoria lunged forward to grab my hands, but I smoothly sidestepped her. "Save it, Victoria. Don't waste your energy. We're already divorced." The moment I said that, tears began to stream down her face. Within seconds, she was sobbing uncontrollably. "Then what about all our years together? We were together for 5 years, Sincere. You can't do this to me. What will happen to my company if you leave?" Her attempt at emotional blackmail ignited my anger. "Victoria, you have no right to talk about our years together," I roared. "Where was your concern for our relationship when I was dying in the hospital? When you were busy defending Leo, did you ever once think about everything I've done for you over the years?" Victoria froze, stunned. She had never seen me so furious. Tears hung on her lashes, forgotten. She opened her mouth, but all she could manage was a weak defense. But Leo really didn't mean it. He already told me. Really? If he didn't mean it, why did he have to do it secretly at this point? I don't care if he meant it or not. If you want to argue right and wrong, you can call the police and let them decide I pinched the bridge of my nose. The fact that I hadn't already reported it after the divorce was the last act of mercy I could show her. Victoria hesitated, then nodded with a look of determination. "I believe Leo, but if you insist, I will call the police. And if it turns out he wasn't trying to harm you, Sincere, you will come back with me. And I promise I will keep my distance from him from now on." I gave a non-committal shrug, only telling her to make the call quickly if she was going to do it. When Victoria and I arrived with the police at Leo's apartment, he opened the door and froze, his face a mask of panic. What's going on?" "Victoria, Sincere, I haven't done anything illegal, have I?" "Haven't you?" I asked coldly, not giving him a chance to speak. "You haven't done anything? Then why was I in the hospital?" At my words, the color drained from Leo's face. The police quickly took him to the station and began their investigation. The results came back swiftly. It was a clear-cut case of attempted murder. The company's security cameras showed Leo seeing me take my medication, then rummaging through a drawer to confirm it was the specific antibiotic that reacts with alcohol. At the party, he was caught on camera furtively swapping my juice for beer, even casting a guilty glance toward the security camera in the corner. I suddenly remembered why he had been so brazen. A colleague had mentioned that the main hall's security cameras were down for maintenance on New Year's Eve. He must have thought he was in the clear. As the police laid out the evidence, Victoria was dumbfounded. "You were trying to kill Sincere?" she demanded in the interrogation room. After rounds of questioning, Leo's initial denials had crumbled. He looked up at Victoria, his face completely stripped of the innocent, boy-next-door charm. All that remained was a cold, sneering contempt. He began to scream at her. "You idiot, why did you call the police? I thought I could use you to get away with it, and you turn around and report me. What the hell were you thinking?" "You bitch." Victoria stumbled backward, unable to believe the venom in his voice as his true self was revealed. The two of them immediately erupted into a shouting match. "You told me it wasn't on purpose. Would you have protected me if I didn't? Isn't that what you like? Me playing the victim, calling you Victoria, all sweet and innocent?" Leo, now in handcuffs, seemed almost relaxed now that the charade was over. He leaned back in the interrogation chair, his eyes raking over Victoria's body with a lewd, dismissive gaze. A short, sharp laugh escaped his nose. "You just wanted to sleep with me, didn't you? What did you say?" Victoria eventually emerged from the interrogation room in a daze, completely shattered. I heard the argument had escalated until she tried to attack him and had to be pulled out by an officer. With the truth revealed, there was nothing more to say. I nodded to a nearby officer. "I'll be going now, officer. Please contact me if you need anything else." I turned to leave, but I had only taken 2 steps when Victoria threw her arms around me from behind. Her grip was tight. Not wanting to make a scene in front of the police, I sighed. "Victoria, let go of me. Sincere, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I'm begging you, come back with me. I misjudged you. It was all my fault." Victoria's voice was a choked sob, her arms tightening around me. "I have no reason to go back, Victoria. I find you disgusting." My voice was ice. I reached down and slowly pried her fingers off me, one by one, until I was free. Victoria let out a desperate guttural cry and scrambled to block my path. I I never did anything with Leo that crossed the line. You have to believe me. I only looked out for him because he looks so much like my first love from high school. Look, I brought a picture to show you. Her hands trembled as she pulled out a faded photograph I had never seen before, trying to prove her point. I stared at it, unmoved. That was no excuse for the hell she had put me through. Please, she wept, making promises she couldn't keep. Please come back, Sincere. I'll be so much better to you. I'll make everything up to you. It's too late, Victoria. I can never accept you again. From now on, let's just go our separate ways. Don't contact me anymore. I pushed past her without hesitation and walked out of the station, leaving her to her broken sobs. After that day, Victoria didn't give up so easily. She tried to win me back through sheer persistence. She even declared that she would let her company go bankrupt before she would stop trying. I had nothing left to say to her. My family wouldn't resort to such low-handed tactics. We had simply ceased all business with her company. The only reason they had partnered with her in the first place was because of me. Without that connection, why would the Vance Corporation bother with her when they had far better options? It was a simple business decision. Perhaps Victoria thought that if I returned, my family's influence would instantly allow her to rebuild her empire, making her grand promises feel painless and empty. Without my family's contracts and support, and with her own heart no longer in it, her company soon dwindled to nothing. Teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, Victoria started waiting for me outside my family's estate, ambushing me at every opportunity. Once, she even caused a scene at the Vance Corporation headquarters, screaming that she was the Vance family's daughter-in-law before being dragged out by security. Sincere Vance, I'm telling you, you can't get rid of me. I won't give up on you. I really know I was wrong. What more do you want from me? As she was being taken away, her eyes, blazing with a terrifying, obsessive light, were locked on me. I was beyond tired of it. To escape the drama, Serena and I left the country. After that, I never saw Victoria again. During our time abroad, our bond deepened, and both our families were thrilled with our growing relationship. Eventually, I proposed to Serena. The wedding was an extravagant affair, attended by nearly every major figure in the business world and swarmed by media. It was broadcast live back home. Surrounded by blessings, I exchanged rings with Serena, filled with an indescribable happiness. The next time I heard news of Victoria, it was of her death. She had committed suicide, not long after my wedding. She had seen the live broadcast of the spectacular wedding on television. In a fit of rage, she had smashed her TV. After neighbors complained, she was taken to the police station and counseled for several days. She seemed to have returned to normal when she went home, but the next day, she was found dead in her living room. She had finally given up. After leaving a letter, she ended her life with the same combination that had almost ended mine: pills and alcohol. When I returned to the country, the police gave me the letter. I opened it. Inside was a short, simple note of apology and blessing. I'm sorry, Sincere. I was wrong about everything. I hope you can be happy. Congratulations on your marriage. If there is a next life, let me be the one to pursue you. If there is a next life, Victoria, I hope we never meet again. I read the letter, a storm of complicated emotions swirling inside me. Then I set it on fire, and with it, I said a final goodbye to the past.